Hello world is a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Preservation Society, the podcast for people born in the big wheel generation who were the first generation to substitute the number 4 for the word for and the letter U for the word you in their yearbook messages, possibly implying that they might die for you. Or the number 2 for the word to and the number 4 for the word for, and make a fun mathematical friendship equation in their yearbook message. Too good plus to be line forgotten.
Yes, we believe our Gen X childhoods gave us unforgettable songs, stories, characters, images, and great ways to sign yearbooks. And if you don't talk about them, no, not you. Should I not say that? Is that stupid?
That's funny. Okay. Yeah, not just going, and if we don't.
Yeah. And if we don't talk about them, they'll disappear, like Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition.
And today, we'll be saving the precious messages inscribed into our school yearbooks that no one ever imagined would be read aloud publicly 40 years later, because that's what we're going to do. Welcome to Gen X Yearbook Readers Theater. Sorry, Debbie.
I'm Carolyn.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Michelle, and we are your pop culture preservationists.
There may not be anything that signals the end of the school year more than the distribution of yearbooks and the signing frenzy that follows. And this topic was supposed to be part of our Schools Out for Summer episode, where we talk about things that signaled the end of the year, like field day and returning your library books and movies in the gym. Carolyn was in charge of that outline, and she just put in our outline, share yearbook memories. And I went deep. And I've talked about this for a long time because when I read the messages that people wrote to me, it shines a light on so much, more than you think. And so while we're recording that episode, we start reading the messages aloud. And where do you stop? And there are 3 of us, right? And between us, we probably have 20 plus yearbooks times how many messages? And so we stopped. We were just like, whoa, everybody stop. This isn't about field day anymore. This is its own episode, and it's going to be Reader's Theater. And so we've all spent some significant time with the yearbooks that documented our academic experience in the Gen X era, and we read every scribbled message from every single person, friends, enemies, and complete strangers alike, and we've come away with something bigger than we thought. What was your experience reading through these yearbooks this week, you guys?
Oh, I don't know. First of all, let me just preface all of this with I am really sorry to a lot of my friends. I think I was really annoying in 7th grade, but we'll get to that. It was profound in a way because I would have never probably looked at these yearbooks ever again. To be honest, they were buried in somewhere, and I was Husker-dude and sucked back into time like nothing else in a way that we have done before, because these were like little memories that I would have never thought of again, that somebody wrote about don't ever forget the time we blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I did that. It was, it was not like a journal, of course, because we're reading what other people, how they perceived us. And profound is probably a really good word. And just it gave me some time to really contemplate who I was then and give me a better picture of who I was. I'll come to this whole podcast a little changed going forward when we talk about especially junior high, because I kind of now know a little bit more about myself.
Yeah.
Isn't that trippy?
Yes.
And I felt a few things. I think the first thing I felt was, I don't know how to say this, but like sometimes I look back on my junior high years or high school years, and I forget how, I don't know, like part of a friendship group or a girl group. Like I do remember, like I talk on this podcast a lot about times with my friend Kristen or my friend Lisa, and I kind of have forgotten some of these other people that I'm like, Judy, Teresa, Barbie, Nanny, because like I was really good friends with them too. So I think it just gave me a really good feeling. I think I sometimes focus too much on the complicated parts of my childhood or the moving all the time or whatever. And let's be real, all of these junior high to yearbooks I have, are from two big chunks of my life that I was in one spot. So that's good. But I think it just made me realize, like, Michelle, like, things weren't always as, like, maybe not bad as you're making them, but like, you were just a lighthearted seventh grader. And even though I know in my memories there was some shit going down in like my family or whatever, I read these messages and I just got a really good feeling. And then the other thing I just want to say is when I was looking at particularly seventh grade at the pictures of the teachers, you guys, I was so whooshed back in the time machine so fast. Like,
Yes.
like it
the
was
whole
like I was in the
pictures.
freaking DeLorean, because I was like, oh my God, I feel like I saw Mr. Specht yesterday. And I would have never in a million years thought that was that long ago if I like saw him. And then I got sad because I thought, oh, all these teachers are probably dead.
Oh,
guys,
gosh.
the
I
chances
never
are
even
great.
thought
Yes.
Or
about
not
That was a
dead.
long
They're like
time
in a
ago.
nursing home or something.
Yes.
Because they're like 40 or something then.
If they
and
were
that's
40, yeah.
I mean, they're like in their late
yeah.
70s or 80s or whatever. And
Yeah.
but to look at their pictures, I was like, I'm sorry. I was just on the other side of your desk, like my favorite English teacher and who signed my yearbook. And I'm like,
Yes.
I feel like I was just standing there yesterday. So that was kind of fun too. I don't know, it was validating. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, it just was. I highly recommend it, people.
I
this.
highly
100%.
recommend it. It is. It will. It's not what you expect. What you expect is to find something silly and funny, and you will find that. You'll find silly and funny, but you'll find yourself coming face to face with who you were in a way that you didn't remember or embrace at the time, because you're seeing yourself through somebody else's eyes.
Exactly. It's who you were to other people. And
Yes.
you don't often go back and remember yourself that way. And
Yes.
let's be real. We all have many signatures in our yearbook that we know were the people's stock thing that they say, right?
Sure.
You're
Yeah.
such a sweet girl. Have a great summer. But it's the ones that have details, or the ones that, like you said, Carolyn, remember when we did this or whatever. So you're a memory for someone else. Don't you
Yeah.
guys wish though that you could see what you wrote in other people's yearbooks?
Yes.
I wish
What did
I
I
could see
write?
what I wrote. Yeah.
Oh, and remember too, my dad was a teacher in my junior high. And so that concept that you just talked about, Michelle.
Oh
where
no,
all of
I'm
these
so sorry.
teachers- No, that's
Because he
you are
is like
absolutely right.
he is like in a facility. So I'm
He is.
sorry
He's
about
in a
that.
nursing home right now. We just call it, Homestead, because we don't want to call it the
Yeah.
nursing home. So we just call it
Homestead.
Homestead. So Gordy's at Homestead, but Gordy was thousands of kids band director. And so he would have been in his 40s in the 80s. Is that right? Yeah, he would have been in his 40s. Now he's in his 80s. And because he was at my school, he also knew all my teachers. And my parents go to a lot of funerals for my teachers. My mom will be like, oh, did you hear Mrs. Chamberlain died? All the time. It's a weird, trippy time travel experiment, because we, of course, feel exactly the same. But there's so much to talk about here, because it is, like you said, it's so much more than a book of memories. Like, what about the politics of it? Like, who signed your yearbook and how? Because it wasn't just your good friends. It could also be the cute senior who never said a single word to you, but your friends are pressuring you to go up to him in the lunchroom and ask him to sign your yearbook. Did you? How?
I would have
Did you
vomited.
ask? Are you
Are
too
you kidding?
embarrassed? Did you score a particularly coveted signature? Someone who was meaningful, right? There was a whole politics is the only word I can think of to describe it. It wasn't just like, hi, sign my yearbook. I mean, if it were only that simple.
Right.
Huh?
No, there was.
I would say it
just
was kind of
getting
like
ready
that for
it.
me. I would have vomited and fainted at the same time. So I would have ended up falling in my own vomit, basically.
At least for me, I remember there being kind of a plan. Like there was a place, like sometimes you'd save spaces in your yearbook because you know that you wanted some particular person to sign there.
Saved for Shannon. And
Yeah.
she'd hit like a box. She'd draw a box.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. Or you kind of knew where you wanted certain things. And then, the who you wanted was also important. And like if your friends were going to help you, like kind of set the stage that all of a sudden you were there, right? Oh, hey.
Oops,
You,
I
have you
just
signed my
tripped.
yearbook yet? Like, I
My
don't know,
yearbook just
I'm
fell
not
into-
sure. Yes, that's
Did
right.
you pick up my yearbook?
Mhm.
Even thinking, and maybe I was an overthinker, but thinking about the social strata of everything, like, am I in the same social strata as that person? Am I worthy enough to ask that person to sign my yearbook? Or are we not in the same category?
Mm-hmm.
I often didn't know. And I would err on the side of unworthiness, which is sad.
Aw.
In 7th and 8th grade, I felt like there was really only 2 categories, maybe 3. By the time I'm a senior, a junior and senior, there's like 18 categories of
Yes.
social
Mhm.
strata. Truly, there are. There's this group,
Mhm.
there's this group, there's this group. How do you guys have yearbooks? This used to drive me crazy at the time, and it drove me crazy again a few days ago when I was looking through my yearbooks. Did you have those people that would sign super big, like over a picture?
Over a picture.
Like a group
Yes,
picture, they
so
happen to be
rude.
in it, but they don't like themselves in it. So they would just sign over it, or they would scribble their face out, or they would. I have people in every yearbook that would write super big, like they did this on purpose, like because they thought they were funny. And I guarantee you, I'm not good friends with any of these people because I wouldn't be friends with people who did this. You know, you only have so much real estate in your yearbook,
Yeah.
and they would write, and it would be like 3-point spacing in between their letters and write really big. And then other people are trying to write like in between their signature. I got so angry at those people again a few days ago.
In the school system, we would take this seriously. We'd be like, listen, we have some rules about the yearbook signing.
Yeah, that's right.
Do's and don'ts. Here are the do's and don'ts.
Yes.
And
yeah.
please spell out the word you instead of
Good.
ya.
And also,
Y-O-U.
good God, I think if I was still a teacher, no matter if they're in 7th grade or 12th grade, I would on the whiteboard, chalkboard, whatever you
I
have
know, yeah,
overhead,
I know what you're gonna do.
I would
Yes.
put you apostrophe R-E
R-E.
means you are.
You are.
If you're not saying you are, then it's your. But
Does it belong to
100%,
you? Then it's
I will say, no.
yours.
100% minus one person. One person in every yearbook I'm going to share said, you're a sweet, you're a good friend, you're Y-O-U-R. Even when people are in high school.
Across the board. Across the board. The grammar across the board was really quite heinous. And I hate to be like a grammar bitch. And I'm
No,
not.
please.
I mean, people
You're
speak a
with-
lot of different ways around me. It's just so interesting that in my yearbook, at a time when we're supposed to be learning grammar,
Right.
people couldn't do it.
No,
I'm like,
no.
didn't you just do a paper for Mrs. Deutsch?
Didn't you just get that marked
No, can you
wrong?
imagine what their
Yes.
papers looked like? And also,
Right.
don't hate to be a grammar bitch. We're like a whole police squad right here.
Yes,
The 3 of us.
exactly.
And also, I would love to see my signatures on other people's, because if younger Michelle wrote Y-O-U-R when you meant to say your with an apostrophe, I'm going to slap her. I'm going to slap her so hard. And the 2s, the T-O. Have too much fun this summer, T-O.
Yeah.
All the time. So many it's like people just use T-O because they couldn't do the second O. I don't know what it is. And just
Get a
people
physical
understand
reaction.
We're like, it's because we love grammar. So we're not hating on anybody. It's just that we love it. We love grammar.
Diagramming sentences, I'd be all over that. I want to invent a game. It's just about diagramming sentences. I
That'd be so
love
fun.
diagramming sentences. And people hated
Also-
that. I thought,
Yeah.
how? Did you hate that?
It wasn't my favorite, but I did kind of think it was fun. And also, Kristen, we're not hating on anyone. I am, because you know what? If you are an adult today who doesn't know the difference between there, and there, your, and two, and two, TWO, and TOO, go learn it. You look
it's
like
not
an
hard.
idiot
It's
when you
not
write
hard.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not hard. And by this time, you should know. By this time, just Google
My
it. It's super
God,
easy. Just
yes,
Google
you
it.
should know.
Yeah. And because this is going way deep, it has meaning. There are different meanings to this word. That's why it's important, because they
It's
mean
not
different
hard.
things.
It's not hard, people.
Yeah.
Like 2
It's so
means
easy.
extra. That's an
Yeah.
extra O.
It's an extra
come on,
O.
people. There's
Exactly.
so easy ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
I mean,
anything
come on.
anything within a parentheses, whether it be it's, IT apostrophe S, there, or your, if you can substitute it for it is, they are, or you are, put the apostrophe in.
Yeah, please.
Okay, we're going to get off our teacher. We were teachers, so just understand that, people. We were teachers. So
Okay, and I have to go back to my notifications because I just got a message from Instacart, which is that's not necessary right now. I don't need to get anything from Instacart at this moment. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's do this. We're going to start at the beginning with some of our first yearbooks, and we're going to move all the way through high school, taking turns sharing some of the most interesting messages. So I'm going to start with 7th grade. This is my first time. I have never had a yearbook before. I have not yet mastered socializing in general. I mostly read books and do calligraphy and a little latch hook here and there. So there aren't a whole lot of signatures in this yearbook, and most of the signatures are from people I don't even remember and possibly didn't really know because we probably just had a class together. They probably just sat next to me in a class that I had for one semester in 1981. And like we said before, there's a strict template. It's, I'm so glad I got to know ya in fill in the class in earth science. Can't spell out Y-O-U. It's yeah. So glad I got to know ya in earth science. You're so sweet. Stay that way. Maybe just stay sweet. And hope you have a great summer. And then you've got the classic FF for friends forever. And sometimes C, capital C, yeah. See ya.
Yeah.
And there were some, this is what I'm talking about when it shows who you were at this time. This is so illuminating. So I'm just going to read you a couple of samples from my 7th grade yearbook, and you'll see who Kristen was. Kristen, I'm not too good of friends with you, but I hope that next year we can become better friends. Good luck at everything you do. Call me, 421-8033.
Oh,
Love
lots
ya.
of phone numbers. Yeah.
FF, Hallie. So, just saying it like it is. And this one gets even better. Kristen, I don't really know you that good, so I hope to get to know ya better next year. FF, Debbie.
Friends forever, but I don't know
You're
you.
still
But I
friends.
don't
You're
know
still
you.
friends forever.
Yes,
You're still
yeah.
friends forever.
Yeah, well, there's
Yeah.
potential. And just to prove what a book nerd I was, here's one from my Spanish teacher, Senorita K. She says, Sonia, that was my Spanish name. Sonia.
My heart. I was like, she didn't even write your right name.
No, that's my Spanish name.
Okay,
That's
okay.
my Spanish class name. Mucho suerte a una chica, mona de otra aficionada de Agatha Christie. And so I had to put that into Google Translate because my Spanish is a little rusty.
Because you don't remember any of your
No,
Spanish.
I don't remember.
Oh, yes,
Sorry,
yeah.
Senorita K. If you're still alive. She said, it means a lot of luck to a cute girl from another Agatha Christie fan. And which is lovely. It's beautiful. But it just means
only
I walked
means-
around with an Agatha Christie book all the time.
To say, there's no other way she would really know that unless you
No.
wrote a whole paper on Agatha Christie, but you
In
know that you
Spanish.
walked around with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Spanish.
I had everywhere I went, I had
Yeah.
my little clutch because I wasn't old enough for a purse yet. You start with the clutch, and then you have your notebook and your stack of textbooks, and then I would have my Agatha Christie book on top.
And that was in 7th grade.
In
I
7th
love that
grade,
you were
yeah.
reading Agatha Christie in 7th grade.
I'm
Of
such an
course.
old woman. Yeah.
It tracks, as they say.
Mhm.
But
I'm
what is so
surprised it
interesting?
wasn't like, the Thornbirds or, Fear of
I
Flying.
read that too. Yeah, I
Erica
read
Jong.
that.
What's so interesting to me is, and that we've laughed about, the three of us, is the similarities in our yearbook signatures, the too good to be forgotten, all of those.
Mhm.
But yet there wasn't internet. There wasn't, I don't remember a 17 article on how to sign yearbooks. How did we
No.
all have these similarities
Yeah.
across the
Well,
country?
that's interesting.
Across the country, we were in
Right.
wildly different places in 7th grade. Where were you,
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
I was in
Minnes-
Anoka, Minnesota.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
and
was in
Texas.
and I was in Washington State.
Yeah. So you think about that: Midwest, South, and Pacific
Northwest.
And people are chuckling along right with us in New Jersey and Massachusetts and all those places. So I mean, I don't know. It's interesting that we
Mhm.
still were able to have these trends and things that went across the board, and yet we didn't have this immediate communication that connected us.
No, we had no
Mhm.
way to communicate with each other besides letters. And if you didn't know anybody in the Pacific Northwest, how did
Yeah.
I just don't this is a PhD dissertation right
Yes,
here.
in our
Mhm.
spare time.
How we sign
Mhm.
yearbooks, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Carolyn, how about you? What did
Okay.
you have?
I'm going to start with 6th grade because in Texas, K-5 was elementary, and then 6, 7,
Okay.
8 was junior high. And I want to emphasize that junior high,
Mhm.
not middle school.
Mhm.
And it was literally that. It was a junior high school. Like everything about my junior high was miniature high school, from the football team
too.
to the pep squad to
Yep.
the cheerleaders to everything. So 6th grade was a big jump. You went from a lunchbox to
Yeah.
a sack lunch, all of that stuff. And I had a great years to be in middle school. So 76, 77 was my 6th grade for me. And one thing I want to note about all of my yearbook signings, they were all in cursive. Every single
Oh
signature
my
in here
God.
was in cursive.
Yes.
The
Take
boys,
a look. Oh, now I'm going to
Mine
notice.
too.
yes. The boys,
I
the
have
girls,
mixed. I have
everything.
mixed, but wow, I didn't think
Okay,
about
mine
that.
are
You're right.
all- I'm looking right now. And not to be sexist, but you'd think, well, the boys might be the one to write in print or something. No, Jeff Isola, or maybe I shouldn't say his last name, but Jeff was said
Sure,
to a
we
girl,
can call these people out.
girl too. Roses are red and violets are blue. There were a lot of roses are red, violets are
Yep.
blue, like
Uh-huh.
plays on that, if that makes sense. This one was kind of fun, and this was my best friend who I did the sack race with, and she did remember M, the letter, in the nice cursive, like the way we remembered to
Wow.
write the
Oh,
cursive.
yeah.
Remember E, put them together and remember me.
Yes, Carolyn, that is exactly like something I used to see in my mom's yearbooks. I loved
Yes.
reading my mom's yearbooks. She would always have
I
them out
did
on the
too.
bookshelf. And I did go through a lot of them when we just cleaned her stuff out in the fall. And I just could, they were so huge and heavy. But you know what was cool? My sister still lives in Texas, and my mom went K through 12 at Grand Prairie High School. And she had, I think I told you guys this, the old cheerleading uniform with the giant corduroy skirt and the megaphone and
Yes.
the letter jacket and all the yearbooks. And so we didn't know what to do with these. And my sister got in touch with someone at Grand Prairie High School, and they wanted them. So for
that's
to have in
awesome.
their archive. So we donated them all. But it would be poems like that. Like that sounds like
You're
a
right.
very old school
I
poem.
wonder if that's where
Yeah.
she got it from, going through her parents' yearbooks, because
I loved
I
doing that.
loved doing that. I can remember doing that. I pull them all out. I remember what my parents looked like in their pictures. I thought my dad was so cute. I was like,
Oh.
man, he has this tuxedo on, and my mom has the drape, which I don't know about you guys, but my kids, their yearbook photos were just like in their regular clothes.
Oh,
It wasn't
yeah.
Yeah.
those-
We didn't
I-
have to
I
And
wear
I wanted the drape.
I
It's
had
like
the
the
drape.
black off
Yes.
the shoulder thing. Oh, you had the black
I
off
did
the
have
shoulder
the
thing?
yes,
And they
I
just
did.
put
For
it
your
around
sa-
you, right?
Yes, for our senior yearbook
Yeah.
photo. We had several
Oh.
kind of versions taken, but the one that went in the yearbook was, I had the drape
I
with
wonder
the
if that's
pearls.
the cutoff, because when did you graduate?
83.
83. I graduated in 86, and I just wore clothes.
Well, I'm glad you wore some
I also
clothes.
feel like it might have been regional. I wore nothing. But Carolyn, that's the picture of you that we have.
Yeah,
is
that's
you're
right,
in
that's
and
right,
you're kind of
that's
turned
right.
sideways.
Yeah, they had you.
and
Yes,
you've got like
exactly.
pearls. Yeah.
Yep, those were my mom's pearls, probably the one she wore in her picture.
Wow.
But I want to say, I so specifically remember their pictures, those little rectangle boxes. And my mom had one, this probably was her senior year, and she had these bangs, okay? Bangs in quotation marks, because there were these 4 things that came down on her forehead, and they were like little J's. So if you can imagine.
my
Yes.
And they were like plastered.
Yes.
And I would
with
ask her.
tape. They put it down with tape.
You slept.
Yes.
She said you slept with tape, and you wet them down, and then you slept, and then you carefully removed the tape. And I said to her today, I called her and I said, "What were those called?" That's just what I remember you being. That's just what I remember your senior high school picture being. And she said, she couldn't remember. Then she said, I think they were called spit curls. And I said, spit curls.
Yes.
And she
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
curls.
yeah, because you'd spit on your hands
Uh-huh,
to kind
yeah.
of wet them down
Mhm.
and everything. And I just
And
thought it
sometimes
was
you put them
so-
on the side of your face, like
yeah,
by the
that's
ears.
exactly right.
Yeah.
She said
Mhm.
like your grandmother would have them on like the side, like little sideburny kind of looking things. So it was very
Mom used to make
telling.
them on me. Like, and I would be
Oh,
so
I'm
grossed out.
sorry.
And I remember her saying, "Oh, Michelle, these are spit curls. We used to use them all. We used to do them all the time. Like, if I had my hair in a ponytail, she'd want me to have like little curls on the side. It's like,
And
woman,
they were literally like
I'm not a
stuck to your
child from
face.
1951. Yeah.
Right. But all of that all of that also proves that these yearbooks, besides the signatures, you can tell so much about the styles of the times.
Yeah, that's
Like
why I
they're
loved
really
it.
little time capsules
It
of
is.
what was going on style wise, and even in the world, you could kind of get that vibe as you
It
read
felt
your
like an
yearbooks.
encyclopedia to me. I would sit down and look at my parents' yearbooks in the same way that I would pull the encyclopedia off the shelf
Yes,
and just
yes.
pour through
And
them.
read just every
Yes.
line, and
The
oh my gosh,
hairstyles were fascinating
yes.
to me. The big dresses were fascinating to me. And I have my grandma's yearbook from the 1920s.
Oh my
And
gosh.
they're the pictures of the rooting team. ROOTING. Their pictures of the rooting team are hilarious. First of all, they're men. It's not
Okay.
women. And they're dressed in like knickers and high
I
socks.
could just imagine, and probably a long like sweater with
Yes, a big sweater with a
the
letter on it,
letter.
and then the biggest bullhorn you've ever seen, or the big cone. Is that called a
Yeah,
It's
like
like a
megaphone.
megaphone. It's
Yeah,
a
a
megaphone.
megaphone. There we go.
Yeah, that's
It
what
was
my mom
they'll
had
have
for
like
cheerleading.
yeah, like a 3-foot-long megaphone,
Right.
and
a
then they
handle on
would
the bottom.
pose like like they're getting ready to run a race and hold the megaphone in front of their face.
Yeah.
And that's the rooting team. So they're like the original cheerleaders, but they're
Yeah,
men.
rooting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
There was a difference in how my parents signed their yearbooks and how we signed our
Mhm.
yearbooks. And some of the things that we came up with in the 80s are true today. So the Friends Forever, they still do FF, Friends Forever. That comes from us. And then in the 90s, they did BFF. We still have BFF, Best Friends Forever. And even the 4 and the 2
Yep.
and the U, all of that is still with us. And can we say thank you, Prince? Prince may have started
Yeah.
something that's going to last like in yearbooks forever. Off on a tangent. Okay, what else in 6th grade did you
Yes.
have?
Well, basically, the things that I came away with was that I was very sweet, okay,
Oh, so
and
sweet.
nice. I was
Yeah.
very sweet and nice.
Mhm.
I was also tall. A few people mentioned to a tall girl, but nice. So I know.
Like being
nice.
tall is so yeah.
Yes. Or I was neat. I was a neat person.
Oh, neat.
Wait, neat, not
Neato.
as in tidy, but neat like
No,
the
I think
70s
as in
neat.
cool, like
yeah, so there's
70s
the
neat.
slang coming through again. That's because that
Exactly.
is a 70s term. Like even by the
Yeah.
80s, we weren't saying neat quite as much. We were saying cool.
Oh, and I was a super good-looking chick.
Ooh,
Oh,
congratulations.
Yes, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of things that stood out to me were the fact that every page, like I'm going to hold this up to you, it was all songs from the 70s that
Oh,
so that was We've Only Just Begun, this was Top of the World. Oh gosh, what else do we have? The Way We Were, Taking It Easy, and my favorite was
That's very cute. That's like
on
a
the
little time capsule of its own then.
yes, Tell Me Something Good. Then good. And on the football page where it was all the football teams, it was hurting each other.
Oh, that's
Weekends
clever.
are
hurting
But
each other.
the irony of it being
That's
they
so
were
funny.
obviously going with
That's
the
funny.
title. But
And you really have a Carpenter's theme. Like somebody really loves the Carpenters.
Yesterday is no, that's the Beatles, right? Yesterday.
No, but they do Yesterday Once More.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna count it. We're gonna
Yes,
count
so
it.
there were the Hustle. So if I just need Leader of the Pack, if I need to go back, a fifth of Beethoven, which was banned. Anyway,
You
so
should make a playlist of your yearbook songs.
I should. Color My World is even on here. You know, my dreaded.
Oh my God.
We played it. But it was really fun to kind of go back and it's a little time capsule of the songs that were popular. And here's my You Are Too Good to Be Forgotten. And anyway, it's just fun. I won't read them all, except I can tell you that I was nice, I was tall, and I told you
Neat.
I was funny. I was funny too.
That's
was a
nice.
common theme.
That's so
Sixth
cute.
grade was a fun year, and so that's a little bit about me in 6th grade.
What was your first one, Michelle?
My first one's 7th grade, 1982, and I want to show you if this doesn't scream 7th, 8th grade yearbook cover, I don't know what does.
Oh my. What?
Okay, let's try
What?
to describe this to everybody.
Oh my God.
Now, obviously, you have to watch us on YouTube to get the full effect. To me, it looks like one of those like Hallmark love greeting cards where you couldn't quite tell the people. Like they're real.
It's too sexy for Hallmark.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
more like
it's
the
true.
Thornbirds.
Yes.
I was
you know
gonna
what
say
is?
it looks like the advertisement for a made-for-TV movie,
Life.
but like in prime time.
No, it looks like
A
a Time
Time
Life
Life
ad for a record
albums.
that has all
Yes.
the ballads, all the love songs, and they're almost gonna kiss, and they're in silhouette, and there's a sunset
Yes.
behind them, and there are branches across their
It's
face.
It's not just a branch. It's like a giant tree, but also then the people are in silhouette. Yeah, they'll definitely. Please watch this if
You know what
can.
happened?
And
Here's what I'm
we're
gonna
gonna need to
predict
put
happened.
we're gonna need to put this in the Weekly Reader.
Whoever was on the yearbook staff. By the way, were either of you on your staff?
Yes. And I was the yearbook staff. I think it would have been the next year, 8th grade. But
Thank
okay.
goodness. I bet
lots
you,
of
the
rubber
reason
cement.
you were on the yearbook staff was you were like, hell no, that kind of cover is never going to be on my yearbook ever again. And I'm predicting somebody forgot to send in a picture for the cover to that yearbook company.
It
and
was
they
a
say,
stock.
Whoever missed the deadline gets this cover.
Okay, this is funny to me because it's dedicated to this math teacher, Mr. Waters. And I remember Mr. Waters, and I remember not liking Mr. Waters at all. Like, I hated Mr. Waters. Sorry, Mr. Waters, if you're in a nursing home listening to this. But here's what Mr. Waters thought of me. Michelle, you've been a delightful young lady to have in class. Keep up the dedicated efforts and enthusiasm, and you'll accomplish your goals and be a welcome contribution to any group. Keep smiling, and don't forget to say hello to your old 7th grade teachers next year, Mr. Waters. Now, also understand that I'm going to say little Michelle because I usually refer to like 7, 8-year-old. Young 7th grade Michelle, even though I hated Mr. Waters, this tracks. This was the persona. I was respectful. He probably thought he was my favorite teacher, right? And then, so I'm going to read you just a couple of entries from 7th grade. Michelle, hi. You're the sweetest person I've ever known. Stay cool and keep your big smile, too. Love ya. YA. Christy.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I was the sweetest person she's ever known.
Ever known.
Wow.
That's
a
huge.
lot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot from 7th grade that I'm sharing because, they're all kind of the
We're
same
just
thing. You're
starting
really
out.
sweet,
Yeah,
whatever.
it was all the same in 7th grade. We're just figuring it out.
Okay. Michelle, it's nice having you for a friend. Hopefully in the years to come, we will become better friends. Hopefully you'll have a good summer. P.S. Like you said to me, so just makes me cringe because apparently I wrote this in her yearbook.
God,
like
we're
you said
getting
to
in
me, don't do anything I wouldn't do during the summer. Love always, Nanny. And she was Nancy, but we called her Nanny. And then, you guys, this will track from 7th grade all the way till 1987 on probably 98% of my signatures. In quotation marks, either 87 or 87 rules. Every single one says 87 rules. Yeah.
I didn't have that. I didn't, and yet it seems like it seems like that's a natural thing to do. And
I
I
don't
didn't
even
have
think
that.
it dawned on me what year I was.
What?
Like, I don't even know that we talked about it. I mean,
we
maybe
knew we were
did.
class of 86.
Such a big deal
I
to
didn't
us.
think
That's
I
why
know
a lot
that.
of times when we're talking about graduation year, we always just go 87 rules. And you guys, I don't know if it started later because all of our listeners, I wouldn't say all, many of our listeners who also graduated in 87, when I say it in a podcast or if I'll put it in a story or something to be silly, like 87 rules, they respond very favorably. Like, yes, 87 rules, 87 rules. They understand it. They get it. No matter.
What did the first yearbook, how did they sign the very first yearbooks? Because it wasn't 87 rules and it wasn't, see ya with a capital C. What did the first yearbook, what were those signatures like? Because I do know when it came out. I do know when the first yearbook was. And it was the class of 06 at Yale University. The class of 1806. Was the first one. And
I was thinking 19.
No, it's 1806. But here's the funny part. Of course, there's no photography in 1806. So
wait, did they have to make their own paper with pulp? And I'm just kidding, they didn't. But
they went together.
They're chiseling their signatures.
Papyrus, right?
Yeah, papyrus. And so everybody was represented in the little square, just like we do today. They were represented in the little square with a silhouette drawn of them to represent them. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a
Little piece of
super cool fact.
Isn't that
Yes.
cool? And so then yearbooks evolved as photography and printing evolved. Once we got photography, then it became like now our yearbooks are like scrapbooks, and that's when we start adding things about what TV shows we were watching and all of that kind of stuff. But I just have to wonder, did they sign them and what did they write? That would be so
Right. And
interesting.
did everybody get one? Because we're talking 1806. We're
Yes,
not
right.
like printing was not, you didn't just
No.
like zip out something, you had to change type and then get
Mhm.
all that stuff. So I'm almost wondering if there was just one that
And
they
they
kept in
passed
the
it around?
library or something.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't
they had to
know.
go visit it in the library. It's possible. That's very
Right,
possible.
right.
Okay, so when my next year, the following year was 1982, and I went to Fred Moore Junior High in Anoka, Minnesota, and it's Fred Moore, Moore. And officially, apparently, it was known as Moore Junior High, but we didn't know that. We always called it Fred Moore. But on the cover of my yearbook, it says Moore Junior High, but then somebody wrote in, no more Junior High.
Oh my.
Mhm. No more Junior High.
Aren't you pissed though that they did that? I would have been pissed.
It
It's
might have been me.
hilarious
Now
now.
that I'm
Oh my-
looking at how the letters are made, it might have been me. It might have been me.
That tracks too.
Yeah, it does.
I
Oh, actually,
know.
that was 1983. That's the wrong one. Anyway,
Oh,
it doesn't matter. 1982, I'm in 8th grade. The template still exists, but there are more signatures and some actual friends. Although they still use the same template. I'm so glad I got to know ya in earth science, but it's getting more personal and a lot more emotional. So here we go. Kristen, there's not enough words to explain what we've been through. Even we've liked the same guy. Lots of love, Cindy. And that's one of the Stein girls. And I don't remember what guy we liked. Even we've liked the same guy. I
Although-
mean, it sounds like that was hard. That was a hard thing for
Okay,
us to
enough
get
to
through.
make it
Can
in
we
the
just
yearbook.
pause for
Yeah.
a second? Because it was I think you telling us that it's one of the Stein girls is very important because when you first started and said there's no words to describe what we've been through, I was like, oh, but in my head, like, well, that's kind of dramatic. That's kind of, once you told us it's a Stein girl, oh no, she's dead serious. Because longtime
She's dead
listeners
serious.
know, you guys have been through a lot.
We went through a lot. There's
You
a
went
lot
through
that
a
happens on all
lot
those
with the
sleepovers.
Stein girls.
It's a
You
lot of
did.
sleepovers.
Now, is there at all a chance that this person was Scott Fenwick?
I don't know. Oh my God. It could have been any number of Scots. There were a lot. Even in my own collection of crushes, it's not just that there were a lot of Scots in my school. There were a lot
a
of
lot of
Scots that I
Scots, too.
crushed
Oh.
on. We even had 2 Scott S's. So you couldn't even say Scott S because there were 2 of them.
Wow.
Okay, this
Well,
one's
yeah.
good too. Kristen, I'm so glad you're my friend. I could cry. You better come over a lot this summer and keep in touch. FF, Cindy. That was another Cindy. I had 2 Cindys. And then this
Cindy
one,
was
look, you
another one.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cindy was big. This one wins the award. This one gets the award for junior high earnestness. Oh my God, this is so good. Okay. Kristen, when we get older, the first thing we're going to do is try out for the solid gold dancers. All we need is a pretty face and a great body. No talent needed. But we've got all 3. You've been the greatest friend I've ever had. You're easy to talk to and you understand. And here's where the earnestness really kicks in. Remember this above all else. If you ever have a chance to go professional, you take it. I'll be watching. It's just like cue the chorus line movie, right? Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
yeah,
dun,
yeah,
dun,
exactly.
dun, 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 dun. Love you always, Christy. She was my shoplifting friend. It was it was so stressful. It
So
was
great.
stressful.
Oh my gosh. Well, Christy, I love that. And I love
Mhm.
that she had such a future in mind. Like
Oh,
you're going to
yes.
make
Mhm.
it.
Picked out for me. She had picked out
Mhm.
my future. If I ever have a chance to go professional. Like, what movies were we watching? Maybe that's left over from Fame. Like, was that the seed that was
don't
planted
know.
from Fame? But the boys in 8th grade are at a complete loss. They have no idea how to interact with a girl, even in writing. And I just love this one. Kristen, well, you sure like to sit by Tanya, don't you? It was
I just had like an asthma attack.
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. It was fun kicking your desk. Well, have fun this summer. Bye, Todd. So and all the boys would go, well, so many well.
And
And
that
also-
was thought out. I mean, that
Yeah.
wasn't just like have a good summer. He
No.
would like really
That's
remember
one of my
shared
favorite things.
memories of
You
kicking
sure
their
like sitting by Tanya,
But
don't
Tanya,
ya?
don't you?
And so this sounds a little clunky right here, but we would make out in his basement 4 years later.
I love
Well,
I
I can
love nuggets like that because you
He
look.
had
I
a
can look
crush
back
on
on
you.
some
You
of
can
these people
tell.
too and wonder
He
what's
knew
coming up.
who you were sitting by, and he kicked
Yeah.
your desk. Do you
He knew.
need any more proof than that?
It's like pulling my pigtails. He was
Yes.
pulling my pigtails.
Yes. Yay, Todd. Do we know where
Oh,
Todd is today?
no, but there is more coming in my high school yearbook.
Okay.
The saga will continue.
I can't wait.
I love it.
Todd 2.0.
Yeah. Okay, what you have 7th grade next, right,
I
Carolyn?
do have 7th grade
Okay.
next, and I'm going to start by saying, oh my gosh, okay? 7th grade Carolyn, I don't know if I'd have been friends with you. You seem like you might have been a tad annoying. I don't know. And Maggie said I was kind of cringy.
Oh.
Well, based on all of these people that signed my yearbook. So not evidently, I could have told you that I had a crush on this boy named Robert Crosier. Okay, I just remember that was my 7th grade crush. I didn't really understand quite the depth to which I leaned into this crush. So much so that I would say 2/3 of the signatures in my yearbook refer to my crush on Robert Crosier, whether it be stay sweet and good luck with my next door neighbor, RC, love Kim. To a super good friend, good luck with RC, FF, Dory.
All putting the initials because they don't want to give it away just in case maybe he signs
I don't
it
know
or some.
why that-
Everybody knows
everybody
who it
knows.
is.
Well,
Yeah.
of course everyone knows. And I don't think I was ashamed because there were several signatures that alluded to the fact, to the girl who signed my yearbook, Mrs. Crosier.
You were putting it out there, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I am hoping that I said Carolyn Rich and then in parentheses.
Nope. I don't think so, Carolyn.
Oh my gosh. Then I have some in my yearbook that are just addressed to Mrs. Crosier. So, Mrs. Crosier, you've been a lot of fun, even though you talk too fast. I'm really gonna miss you.
Gonna. Mhm.
Then, of course, there's so many like that, you guys. I'm embarrassed. I mean, I was reading them to Maggie. I cannot tell you. Literally 2/3 have something to do with good
Mrs.
luck
Crosier.
with RC. Carolyn Crosier, you're a very nice friend. I wish you wouldn't move. Yeah, also, this is when
Oh,
people
yeah.
knew I was going to be moving.
Yes.
But yikes, here's another. To a sweet girl, good luck next year and good luck with Robert Crosier.
But you're moving. What's gonna happen
know,
with
I know.
RC if you're moving?
But you guys, I cannot tell you. I don't know how long I would have looked out. No, how do I want to say this? All right, I'm just going to end with this one because, of course, Robert Crosier had to sign my yearbook, right? Yes, he did. And I want to tell you what Robert said because there's no doubt that I
Stay away from me.
Looked at this. No, here's what he said. To a sweet girl who I like a lot, Bobby Crosier. Now, I mean, like a lot. How?
Oh
I know.
my God! Now
What
you
do you
can't
do with
move. You can't move.
And what does that mean? I like a lot.
Exactly.
Like? Is that like?
Like. And he
Have-
signed it Bobby Crosier.
BC.
Yeah, he went like with the nickname. And Bobby, or anyone that knows Bobby that's listening, I think he goes by Robert now. I didn't stalk him, but I just thought
I was about to say, I
so much in
think
my
he goes
yearbook.
by
Yeah.
Robert now. Good one,
And
Carolyn.
guys, he's a junior high school teacher. He's an earth science or life science teacher in the school district where my sister teaches.
No way.
So if anyone knows Robert out there, tell him, way to go teaching, way to go middle school. And I'm
Way to
so
go, RC.
sorry. I am so sorry.
Oh, he loves
Because
it.
if you know him, everyone, ask him what he meant by that in Carolyn's
Yes.
yearbook.
ask if he likes her.
No. And that
Laid
he
awake
doesn't remember
for
me, I would be crushed.
Hours and days and months
Yes.
trying to
Well, I
figure
did,
out what that
'cause
meant.
remember, I moved too this summer. So I would just stare at that and think, if only we hadn't moved, because there was that whole
heartbreak.
angle of the moving
Oh,
thing. Yes.
You would be married if you hadn't moved. You'd be married.
For sure. I'd be
Yeah.
married to an earth science middle
Yes.
school teacher or
For
something.
sure. Mhm.
Anyway, so yes. So let's just say that was the bulk of my 7th grade yearbook like the signatures. So this
Mrs.
is not
Crosier.
a secret. I did not
Not
don't
at
tell
all,
anybody.
apparently.
Don't tell anybody I like Robert Crosier.
No.
So
I love
cringy,
that.
to say the least. And
I
thank
love
you,
it.
friends, for sticking with me.
Michelle, what is
Okay,
next
well,
for you? Do you
my
have
8th grade, I do, and that was 82, 83. And if you remember what the cover looked like of the last one,
The silhouettes.
we've upgraded a little bit, but it's still odd for a middle school yearbook.
Oh, we have a country
And
lane.
this one though goes
Country
two
lane.
sides. See, we're
It's like a
two
stock
sides.
photo.
Yeah, a stock
of,
photo that you got to choose.
Yeah. Mhm.
However, they have been better. Now this year we still again have the picture of the same wall. They like that picture, and
Yep.
now
It says
now
middle
we say
school.
middle school at the
You
top.
corrected that because
Yeah.
now you're on the staff, right,
I
Michelle?
was on the yearbook staff this year. Yes, I was. Okay, here's a couple of funny signatures. Okay. Let's see. Flipping through. This is my friend Paula, who I'm still Facebook friends with to this day, and understand people like, I was there from 5th grade through the end of 9th grade through that summer, and these were people that's a time, 5th grade through the end of 9th grade, where you not only make really good, like a good core group of friends, but you also everybody's going through, you're figuring out friendships. So even with like my own girls, however many years later, this is when friendships sometimes break up, come back
Yes.
together. You go through a lot of shit, especially when you're girlfriends. So, Paula says, Michelle, we've been through a lot of misunderstandings, among other things.
Oh.
But I'm glad everything turned out all right. Wonder what happened between me and Paula.
You don't remember?
I think it had to do with my friend Kristen. I think there was a weird thing that then Kristen became good friends with Paula, and then Paula signs up best friends always at 87 Kicks. Now, keeping with the same theme of troubles with friendships, also understand that my friend Kristen and I. We lived in the same neighborhood. We were best friends in like 5th grade, 6th grade. And then I do remember we would have off and on, again, rocky times through middle school, but mostly on again. Mostly things were good. But apparently when it was yearbook signing day, things weren't too great between me and Kristen, because here's what two people have said. Michelle, again, with the yours. We're all in 8th grade now. Everyone's still saying YOUR. You're a real nice person. Stay that way. I'm sure you will. I hope you and Kristen work out your problems. Hope to see you this summer. If not, see ya next year. 87 rules. Love, Jason. Yep. Michelle, it's been neato, NEATO. It's been neato having you in math class. I hope you and Kristen can be friends again. You were so cute together. Good job in cheerleading. Stay sweet and cute. YP means your pal. Y with a slash P, your pal,
Okay.
Shannon McCombs. And then Brian, my friend Brian Shull, who I was always good friends with, but this is going to come back in a story I'm going to tell next time. Michelle, I'm really glad I know you. I wish we could have been better friends. Stay a babe and have an awesome summer. Let's keep in touch this summer. Brian, quotation marks, Dave Shull. Brian
What?
Dave Shull.
Dave.
Maybe that was his middle name. Maybe he wanted to start going by Dave. I don't remember. And then he has 2 phone numbers for him up there. And then lastly, this was funny to me. Michelle, I'm glad we got to be friends this year and that we're both in the class of 87! See, this was a big deal to us. Yeah.
And that's
Have a
interesting,
great-
'cause before I said to Carolyn, like, no, oh yeah, we knew we were 86, but not till we were in high school. In junior high, we didn't know we were the class of 86. We had no idea.
Have a great summer and a great (boring) year next year in Ridgefield, Penn. Because it was Ridgefield High School, but he called it Ridgefield Penn. Barry.
In my next yearbook, it's 9th grade, but I'm in the same place as Michelle because I also have a junior high, but my junior high was 9th grade, and then high school started in 10th grade. So it was a big deal in my 9th grade yearbook. A lot of it was like, good luck in high school, and it does feel like you're graduating and going to something really big. In 9th grade, things are shifting for me. I'm coming into my own. I have a personality, and I'm letting people see it. I'm not just reading Agatha Christie all the time. High school is coming. Boys and girls do interact with each other, and it's not quite as awkward. Just listen to this progress from Eric. I wish I could remember which Eric this was. Now, remember, my dad is a teacher at the school. And that was very dicey. Like, what if people didn't like your dad? It's super embarrassing. But Eric really knew how to soothe my anxiety about that. He says, well, there we go with the well. Well, Kristen, you're shy, but I managed to get to know ya anyway. Your dad is a swell guy. He must have been smart. He had a daughter who got +20 on all her spelling. Eric. That's some real emotional intelligence right there.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting what people like picked up about you being any of us, who you sat next to, that you got good grades. I mean, I had a few of mine like that always got 100 on a spelling test. Like, people remembered most interesting things about you that you would have thought like somebody picked up on the fact that you got plus 20.
Plus 20. What that means,
I
plus
don't
20.
either, but I guess it must be impressive.
Yep. I'm getting a little whiffy thing about getting 20, 20, 20. Yeah, on all of my spelling. I'm getting a little memory of that. I wish I knew who you were, which Eric you were, Eric. Okay, Carolyn, what do you have next?
I do have an 8th grade yearbook from West Memorial Junior High. That's where all my previous yearbooks were from. If you recall, though, I moved between 7th and 8th grade. Between 7th and 8th grade. And I ended up at Mount Laurel Middle School in New Jersey. Maybe we got a yearbook. I don't know. I could just erase that year pretty much out of my life. But my friends were so kind. My friend Jackie Harkey, if you're listening, Jackie.
God.
So she bought a yearbook for me. And then she took it around and got everyone to sign it.
Oh, Carolyn.
I know.
That is so sweet.
It was so sweet. So I got to read how much people missed me if they even realized I was gone. I don't think some people even I think some people thought they were signing Jackie's yearbook too. So I kind of skipped those, but there were just some that, were just so sweet. And then my friend Jackie, what was so fun is that she was on the yearbook staff this year. So she was able to place photos in places, because that was the other good thing, you guys. If you weren't on yearbook staff, it was really good to have a friend on yearbook staff, because you could say, please put a picture of, me and so here, or make sure whatever. So Jackie,
that was social coinage.
It was.
You got status for how many times or in what pictures you were. And so there was that's part of the social strata where you belong.
I know, exactly. And so it was really nice to read this. I remember you probably don't remember me, love Ed. There were a lot of those kind of things. And then Jackie went through and circled in the index, because if you guys remember, at least in our yearbooks, there'd be an index with your name, and you wanted all the page numbers next to yours. If you only had one page number, that was kind of sad, because you knew that was your one rectangle.
I think just in high school we had an index. I just looked in No More Junior High, and there isn't one.
But anyway, these were all really sweet, because it was we miss you and all that, and it just made me all super sad.
We have to think about that. That's a year after you moved. And
exactly.
That is significant in the life of a junior high school student. Usually, if you're gone 3 months, you're gone.
Right.
Nobody remembers
that
you.
Was
it is
super
over.
Nice. I mean, and probably just led even more into I'm so sad that I moved kind of a thing. And then I'm not sure about this one, because Bobby signed it.
Bobby Crosier?
Bobby Crosier signed it. And to Carolyn, and this might make me sad, I don't know, he said, to a nice and sweet girl. So I guess he's assuming I'm still nice and sweet. Hope to see you next year.
Does he not know you're gone?
Here's the thing. There was also, I was going to visit, I was going to visit in the fall of there. And this was so crazy, because I remember this visit. It was my freshman year of high school, and we went back down to Texas. My dad had a meeting, and I went to school with my friend Jackie. I just went with her. We had to get a little okay from the principal, and I got to sit in on all the classes with her, and I just tagged along, and I got to see all my friends. So I'm going with the fact that Bobby was hoping that
he knew you were coming
hope to
back
see you next year. Hope you're
Yep.
going to come back to visit, because I can't propose if you're in New Jersey. When am I going to give you this lovely ring?
How will you ever become Mrs. Crozier?
Please.
It's a really good segue, Carolyn, everything you just said, into my 9th grade year, because I sadly, since we just moved, a year and a half ago, my 9th grade yearbook is somewhere in this house, but I looked in the attic, I looked everywhere, and same thing. I went to, Ridgefield High School. That was my last year. And you guys will know, or some people listening might remember, I didn't know it was going to be my last year. I didn't find out until August. My mom's like, oh, by the way, we're moving in a week and a half or something. I had been to cheerleading camp. I had made varsity for the next year. I was so excited. And also, this is my group of friends I've been with since 5th grade. And for someone who moved who went to 6 different elementary schools before then, this was a really, I say it all the time, it's one of the 2 most traumatic things in my life, that move was. So I got my yearbook, and for some reason we got them late or something that year, because the same exact thing happened. My friends, maybe they didn't sign it until the beginning of sophomore year, because it got mailed to me. And you guys, it is somewhere here. It's I know for sure it's not lost. It's just somewhere I can't find. It is a treasure. It is all the signatures of all these people basically telling me how much they loved me. And that was so hard. And it was such a gut punch to get that, in the fall of my sophomore year, when I'm understand, I was at a high school of, my entire freshman class had like 92 people in it. The whole high school had maybe 400. And now I'm at Saguaro High School in Scottsdale, Arizona, where my sophomore class has like 900 kids in it. We had like, so that was such a gut punch. I remember crying. I remember Dave Shaw apparently liked me a lot more than he was broken up that I had moved. Like you said, Carolyn, it's just so sweet. And it was just really nice, I guess, to see how much I meant to those people. And everything. So anyway, but for right now, I'm the end of my sophomore year at Saguaro High School. You guys, when I got this yearbook, I was so excited because this was like the yearbooks I remember my mom had. These are like coffee table books. When you go to a high school that has that many people, you get these big books. Now, the cool thing about this sophomore yearbook, so this is ending 1985, is that I'm telling you right now how hard the beginning of it was, how hard it was to go to that big high school. If you start looking at all the signatures I have, though, and all the people telling me like how sweet, like I did okay. Let's just say I did okay. Yeah. Also, to your point about you look in the index, hell yes, I looked in the index. So at the end of my sophomore year, I have two numbers. It's my school picture and then probably National Honor Society or some club I was in. Mm-hmm. By the end of my senior year, I'm in 10. I have 10.
You're counting the numbers. Yeah. Whoa. How many numbers do you have next year?
Absolutely. I even have someone in my senior yearbook, someone actually signs it. You're such a poop for having so many pictures or something. So here's a few fun signatures though from the end of that first year and now by the end of the first year I've made the palm line for the next year. So things have got a lot better, but it was really, really hard. So we have this one, it just cracks me up. And I love the detail in this one because I would never have remembered this detail and I still really don't, but I must have, just listen. Michelle, I had a good year in biology. Wasn't it fun dissecting, or shall we say massacring, our pig? Well, I didn't know you too well, but you were a great friend. Maybe I'll see you next year. So apparently we didn't get a good grade on that,
grade,
right?
You went right to the pig, or that was 10th grade?
We did frog. We didn't get pig.
Yeah, we did frog too.
But that is a high school milestone, the dissecting of fill in the blank.
Yes.
And somebody puts it in your yearbook. That's what makes it a time capsule. That is hilarious.
Totally. Yeah. And then again, Neil, I must have been in biology with Neil as well, Neil Pollock. And I totally remember that name. And I need to look his picture up because I bet I'd be like, yes, Michelle, it's knowing cool people like you that makes high school fun. I thought that was a really nice way to start a yearbook thing, right? He probably did that on everybody's, but it wasn't like,
it doesn't matter.
Great to know you. And then he says, I hope you like being a pommy next year. Don't get fetal pigs' sexes mixed up this summer or you'll get no points. So we must have not only massacred, it must have been me. Yes. It must have been me. What was the other guy's name? Jason? We must have been a team and we must have not only massacred, but gotten the sexes
the wrong
up.
Sex.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
and
God,
then I think
hilarious.
this is fun in these, we have these little time capsules. Kristen, you said earlier how looking at your parents' yearbooks, you loved it so much because it was like an encyclopedia. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I felt going through these high school yearbooks the other night.
Okay, so by high school, now I'm transitioning into high school. And in 10th grade, there's still a template. There's still a form of a template, but you get a lot more personal messages and they're longer. And like you said earlier, Carolyn, people might reserve a spot on the inside cover, like save for Patty with a big box around it. There were more inside jokes. You might get a list of things that you experienced together, like remember French class? Choir tour. It was so nice sitting next to you and typing. Right, there'd be like a long list of remember this.
Mm-hmm.
And in high
fetal
school,
pigs.
Yes, remember fetal pigs.
Right. Well, that's high school. That's sophomore year.
Mm-hmm. And in high school, my yearbook gets grossly inappropriate, like so inappropriate. Lots of references to my boobs from both boys and girls. Lots.
Okay.
My high school yearbook is a testament to the fact that high schoolers are getting acquainted with sexuality. And even if they're not doing it, because half the people aren't doing it, it's like talking about it is people's first step in declaring themselves sexual beings. It's comical. These are from my junior year. Chris, which is not my name, by the way. No one has ever called me
But did you
Chris.
go by Chris?
Never.
Okay, you didn't. Okay.
Never. So this person, for some reason, thinks that they can call me Chris. Well, again with the well, what can I say instead of but? And he puts but in quotation marks because I guess this is the inside joke part. Why didn't I have you in more of my classes? That way I could tease you more about how nice of an ass you have. And other parts.
Oh,
That's from Scott Dollar Sign. I don't know who Scott Dollar Sign is. And Scott Dollar Sign
Money
doesn't even know my
bags.
name. Yeah.
Yeah,
mhm.
we don't like him.
Yeah, I don't know what. And
He's in jail
probably-
for like stock
Yeah.
fraud or something right now.
And I'm guessing that I just went along with it. I'm guessing I didn't get mad and I'd just be like, ha ha ha, funny, funny, whatever.
you did because
Yeah.
we would
Mhm.
have
Still
never done that.
brazen. I still
Oh, it
think
gets
that's-
worse, Carolyn. It gets worse.
I'm appalled.
But it's a variety of people, a variety of closeness to me. This one is positively schizophrenic because he
No.
really was one of my good friends. And I swear to God, we never did anything together except we kissed like twice. Like that's it. I swear to God, we didn't do anything. Kristen, you definitely are one of my favorite lovers. You're a real special friend and a great person to be with. We have had our laughs. Remember CPR? I'm glad I got to know you better. Parentheses, in all ways. Next year should be a great year, you big senior. We'll have to get together this summer and drink heavily. You're a real great friend, and I'll never forget you. You mean a lot to me in all ways. Enough of that sweet shit. Kristen, I seriously love your boobs, and I love to play with them. Yes.
No,
Hate this person.
I do too. And this was not normal, people. I'm thinking
Yeah.
this is not. Okay, I'm just
Feel
whatever.
icky just because. Here's the thing. I just have to interject this. I know you got to
Yeah.
keep going, but had you actually done more with him, then I would be like, okay, still kind of icky, but at least
No, we did
this is
nothing.
so gross to me because you
Mhm.
did nothing.
We did
And
So I
nothing.
don't like
wonder
him.
If he's
And
that
also,
kind of
how
a
many
boy.
people did he tell that you did things?
Well, yes, that's the thing. How many people did
Well,
he
it
say
was-
that there was more that happened?
I think there was kind of a joke about that. I think there was a joke that we were like a couple, but we
Lovers,
weren't. And
apparently.
He was younger than me. He was a year younger than me.
Oh, can you
so
imagine how
yeah.
cool he must have been? Like, yeah, I felt her up.
And it's possible I was his first kiss. I don't know that for sure.
My
He could have
God,
been putting me on, but I could have been his first kiss. And
he
but the
imagined your
kiss was
boobs
not.
so often.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. It wasn't even imagining. It was out loud, about my boobs. So he loves to play with them, and then he says, "Have a great summer, and call me if you need to get ... I'll be there in a flash. Love, Dave, your husband." So I think there was an inside joke about us being married.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I was
Yeah.
going to say, oh, that's stalkery shit right there.
Yeah, I think there was something about us being married. And this was another one of the guys who didn't grow for a long, long time.
Right.
So I think he was aiming high. He was like trying to play big because I think that's a psychological thing. Like I don't appear to be a sexual person, but I really am a sexual person.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I immediately have gone to. We loved reading our parents' yearbooks and looking through them. I'm having
yeah.
this feeling of
Mhm.
like, did Liam
Mhm.
read this stuff?
I've told him not to read it. Yeah.
Oh,
I've said
gosh.
don't read this.
Which made him probably want to read it all the more. Oh my
No,
gosh.
he does
okay.
not want to. He doesn't want to. Wait, am I going? Oh no, I guess that's all that I have for that. Oh, that was my junior year. Actually, that was my junior year. I'm gonna stop right there.
Well, actually, I'll just say that I am going to enjoy listening to your high school yearbook signatures because my high school, we didn't get them till the following fall. And so there wasn't like a signing day.
That's
There
so
wasn't anything
sad.
like that. And then
That
if
is so
you
sad.
went to college, you go to college after your senior year and then so you don't even come back to school. And it was just a matter of either having a friend pick it up for you. And of course I had moved. So my friend had to get it and then mail it to me. So yeah, so I don't have any high school signatures in my yearbook or any of my yearbooks. I
I feel like you were robbed. You were
I
totally
think
I do
robbed.
too.
but I
Mhm.
didn't know I was robbed in a way because it was all of us. I mean, I definitely was robbed in some ways, but I was lucky to have one of my best friends be on the yearbook staff. It was really only seniors that were on
Mhm.
our yearbook staff. And she got some good photos that I begged her to put in.
Oh my God.
In some good places because I did want the world to know that I had a boyfriend. He might not wanted to know that he was like his future generations to know that I was his girlfriend, but I was going to get some pictures of the two of us in there with some pretty good quotes. And I'm just going to say this one thing, and then I'm going to listen to you guys. But this didn't dawn on me because I'm Amelia Bedelia. But there's this one picture of the two of us, and the little caption is, "We come as a pair." I know. And I just thought it was so nice that my friend put that in. And I think my friend is the one who wrote that caption. And I don't think she and I were
horrible.
so this level,
Yes.
but everybody else wasn't. And so when that came out, it was
Oh,
just,
no.
I know.
And
But anyway,
everybody knew. Oh my God.
yes.
That never occurred to me. I must not have ever known anybody on the yearbook staff because it never occurred to me that you could like jockey for position or make suggestions. I was just like, let's see if I'm worth anything at the end of the year. We'll find out.
But anyway, that's all I got to say about my high school yearbooks. I'm interested
All right.
to
Well,
hear about yours.
I have a couple things to just show you from junior year because I want to show you, you said reserve a space to sign. So this is from my friend Susan, and Susan and I we met when I moved there right away. No, actually, just scratch that. This is from my friend Susan, who became just one of my closest friends through high school at Soro. She was the captain of the pom line. I was one of the co-captains of the pom line by our senior year. So I'd go on vacations with her. We spent a lot of time together. Here's what I want to show you. This is Susan's page in my
She got the whole
yearbook.
page.
Oh, wow.
She got the whole
And it says
page.
up here, this page saved, and this is her page. This is also from Susan. So
What?
she signed a lot.
Oh.
And I love this at the very end of this. She says at the very end of, she says, oh, she must have done this second because this at the end it says, love me again. And then it says, P.S. Please bring your children to me for their doctor, and I'll watch you on the news. Remember, I wanted to be a newscaster. Okay, this is the last one because this will come back. Michelle, howdy, partner. Well, ever since that ice cream parlor when we flicked ice cream all over the walls, I've gotten along with you. What? That comes back. Laura is hilarious. I love Laura. She is actually like a stand-up comedian in Arizona, and she's one of the funniest people I've ever known in my life. But in my senior yearbook, she's going to sign it too, that we flicked ice cream all over the walls at the drama club meeting. And I was like, young Michelle. I'm like scolding her. I was like, that is not in character with you. So I was a little disappointed in myself.
Did you
not at all
doing that?
Not at all.
Probably
I
blocked
do
it
have
out.
Now I'm coming into my senior year, and senior year is weird. I don't actually have a lot of signatures in my senior yearbook. And many of the ones that I do have are not from close friends. They're from people in my classes for the most part. And and this doesn't track because I really was at the top of my game socially. Although I never felt like I wasn't like a cool person or anything, I did feel like I was welcome in most circles, and I knew a lot of people. I'd been in this school now for 3 years, but the signatures are missing. And this made me remember that by the end of senior year, I was out.
I was going to say, I bet you've checked out by then.
I was completely and utterly checked out. I didn't care about anything that had to do with high school, and this whole yearbook thing felt juvenile to me, and I was ready to move on. I was so beyond high school, but high school was not done. I got a D in one class that I loved. I did. And I remember just because I didn't do the work. I just didn't read the books. I remember on what we got a test, and I wrote at the top of my paper, I'm sorry, I did not read the book. And then I turned
I'm guessing
it in.
you'd already gotten into St. Olaf and you just kind of had that senior slide.
Pretty much.
Kind of feeling. Yeah.
And my teacher totally got it. She was like, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Aww.
She knew I was somewhere else already. And on the last day of school, my friends were all crying and they're lingering by the lockers and they're saying goodbye to people. And I was the only one not crying. And I was dying to go. I'm like, can we leave, please? Can we get out? And now I remember I did not ask people to sign my yearbook. I just gave it to people who asked. If somebody asked, I'd be like, all right. And then I'd let them sign it. But I never asked anyone. But even despite all of that, there are some good revelations about how people saw me. Ironically, a lot of people saw me as a brain, even though I got a D in Humanities, the class that I actually liked. And the same themes throughout are still here. And in a strange twist, it's the boys who write the more personal messages and the girls who are writing some form of, you're so sweet. I'm really glad I got to know ya. Remember choir. Remember senior social. We have to get together this summer. Have fun at St. Olaf. You're going to rock. but the boys had more substance, which is really surprising to me. So here's from another Dave, not my husband, Dave, but another Dave. I'd have to admit that waiting for you and Jackie at the airport was one of the best times of my life. I had a blast. So this is when Jackie and I went away on spring break together, and the boys picked, they picked us up. And this is when you could go into the airport and go to the gate and
Right.
wait for people. And apparently
Yes.
they waited in the airport bar and they got wasted. And they're 18. They're 18 years old and they're drunk. And he says, even though you don't try to be, I think you are very funny. I love being around you. I look forward to seeing you over the summer, and especially at St. Olaf, because he was going to St. Olaf also. And then in all caps and quotation marks, party.
Yes.
Stay small, sweet, and sexual. Your secret lover, Dave. See, the theme
Okay,
continues.
that's funny though. But that
Yeah.
that one doesn't rub me the wrong way. Oh, the same way
kinda-
that
yeah.
last year's one did.
Yeah.
That one I'm kind of like, oh, that's kind of like,
It's kind
I
of
don't know,
funny.
endearing a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a whole narrative in my mind of why these guys thought they knew you better than maybe they did.
Well,
You were-
Scott Dollar Sign certainly did.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you lived in their minds, I think. They
Oh,
thought about you long
maybe.
before when, long
Maybe.
after school.
Uh,
But
well,
Well, for sure.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like then again, maybe I won't. You're the
okay, and this one is so funny. From one of the only out and proud gay men in our school, which was that's not very safe in 1986. Actually,
Mm-mm.
maybe he's just
In high
partially
school.
out. I don't know for sure. And maybe hinting at proud. But like I said, not super safe. And he says, Kristen, I'm going to miss you, you little bundle of fun, you. Humanities was a lot of fun with you on those meaningless field trips. Good luck in college. You're a brain, so I'm sure you'll be successful at whatever you choose. I suppose you'll come back to our reunion with the perfect husband and children, and I'll be divorced and dirt poor. Love, Todd.
Eh.
oh, that's funny. Just
Yeah.
to think that he would think like that is just
I
a
know.
hoot.
He's just
Yeah.
very clever.
You're a bundle of fun.
Yeah. And so here's Dave, my husband again. From this is a year later, the one who said he liked to play with my boobs. But now I'm recalling more about I'm recalling more about this game that we played about being married. So that lessons that, and I really do love him. I called him Baby Dave. I really do love Baby Dave.
Yeah.
He says,
So let's just go on record because we don't want to, if people know Dave. At the time, you weren't like offended by this. Like you were in on the
No.
joke. Okay, so
I
that's
was
good.
in
That's
on the
what
joke.
we
Yeah.
need to know. That's very important.
And it was a form of playing sexual without having to be sexual. That's what I'm talking about. Like even the people who weren't doing it, if you talk about it, that is like this, I'm going into this territory.
You're testing
Right.
it. You're
I'm just
baby
testing
steps.
it.
Yeah.
Let's see what I
So
can say.
yeah. So I'm gonna forgive Dave for that last year.
Yeah. And like I said, I think he was trying to play big. And you'll see from this message too that there might have been like there are two things at work here that might have contributed to our relationship. Kristen, I really don't know where to begin. You've meant so much to me during school. The first time I ever saw you, I moved your chair and you fell on your ass. I'll never forget that. Kristen, I hope you take care of yourself, and I'm going to miss you next year. It's going to be rough without having you next year. You are my best bud, and I love you. I love you, Kristen.
Oh.
Don't forget me. I love you, Dave.
Okay, now I want to give Dave a hug. Have you forgotten? Did you
No.
forget him? Like, are you still in
I
touch?
forgot him. Yeah. I think I need to find baby Dave. I
Let's
need to
find
see
Dave,
if he-
baby.
if
Let's
he
find
grew up.
baby Dave.
Remember CPR? So that was the class that we took where he pulled out my chair and I fell on the ground. That was the first
Okay.
day of class. And it should be, that seems like such a dick move. But again, it's pulling on the pigtails. And
Yeah,
I thought
kicking your chair.
it was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you did.
And so when we did CPR, the reason he's saying remember CPR is because I can't believe they did this, but we had to do CPR on each other.
Did you?
What?
Yes, we did. We had to do, and so he's like putting his hands on my chest.
Yeah. And
I
did
think
you wear
this
those
is
little
why
mouth
we're
guard
like-
things? Yeah.
No mouth guard. No mouth guard. Although you weren't supposed to put your mouth on the other person.
So
You
you
were
could
just
really
supposed to
hurt someone if
pretend.
you
Yeah.
Yes,
blew
you're just
air in
supposed
their
to
mouth.
pretend. But he did put his mouth on mine in
He's
CPR
got his
class.
hands on your breast. This is just insane.
It's bad. So you can
my
see
gosh.
where that's why he was saying he'd love to play with my boobs. And now that literally is coming to me
Oh,
right now.
okay.
From
Oh,
CPR.
That's
Dave.
why.
Dave,
Yes.
I'm sorry
Oh,
for all
Dave.
the awful.
Oh, my God.
I had awful thoughts about you, Dave, a few minutes ago. You are forgiven.
You're very sweet, baby Dave.
Yes.
We love
you.
Yes.
Baby Dave.
Baby Dave, yeah.
And this one, here, I'm going to read you this one more. No, I have a couple more actually, but this one pulled up sort of an ugly memory. So this is the guy from 8th grade who said he enjoyed kicking my chair. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Dear Miranda," in parentheses, Kristen, and I'll explain this in a minute. "I don't know why I'm writing in a dead person's yearbook, but I'll give it a try. First, I have to say that I really don't think you act like Miranda, but it's a cute name. I really hate that word, but it fits your looks. Truly now," he underlines truly, "being totally serious, underlines serious. You're a really sweet girl, and I regret that I didn't get to know you better." And like I said earlier, we would be making out in his basement now, like a month from now. But he signs it Love and Friends, which I think is really sweet. So here's the Miranda story. And I've talked about this on this podcast before. So he is in my contemporary American literature class. And we read a novel called The Collector, about a lonely man who collects butterflies, and he falls in love from afar with a woman named Miranda. And he kidnaps her and keeps her in his basement in hopes that she will fall in love with him. That's how he thinks he's going to make this happen. And it's very dark, and he kills her in the end. I just told you how the book ends. She's dead. So that's why he says, "I can't believe I'm writing in a dead person's notebook or yearbook." So the discussion in this class, as the teacher led it, was that Miranda was a tease. As if it was her own fault that she got kidnapped and killed. Because she was a tease.
Good
Is this
gracious.
teacher a man or a woman?
It's a man. It is a
Yeah.
The
man.
guy we don't like?
Yes, it
The
is.
teacher we don't like?
Yes, it is. And so this was my teacher's assessment of this novel. And this is what he is teaching to young men and women. And he asked the class, who in this class is the Miranda? And then he goaded the students into voting for me. And I was the Miranda. It was humiliating, and I didn't understand.
God.
And I didn't know, like, why is he targeting me? What did I do? But in his message, you can see Todd is like, "You're not the Miranda."
Aww.
And there were people, boys, now that I think about it, it was all boys. It wasn't even girls after that class who were like, "You're not the Miranda. You're not,
Oh my
that's not you."
God. Oh my gosh, I'm still, and I'm sorry, I don't have any words for how awful that is
Mhm.
on just so many levels, and I'm sorry that you had to
Thank you.
deal with that, because
And he was beloved. He was a beloved
well, I remember
teacher.
you sharing
Yeah.
that too, and
Beloved by me too. I loved him. But I also felt like, what's happening?
right. I mean, there was some small part of you, I'm sure, that was just like,
Yeah.
this ick, this doesn't feel
I
right.
was-
And
yeah.
even Todd recognized it, like
Yep.
something didn't feel right in
Yep.
Todd and the
Mhm.
boys, like, this isn't
Mhm.
right.
You are
I'm
not the
sorry.
Miranda.
Gosh.
I know. Way to bring the party down, Kristen. Okay, do you have more, Michelle, or can I move into?
Oh, I'll bring it back.
Okay.
Oh, this is my
Okay,
favorite
let's-
yearbook. This
let's-
was my
Let's bring
senior
up
year.
the vibes. Let's bring up
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
vibes a little bit.
I
No more
will.
sexual
So this is-
harassment.
My senior yearbook, and I just love, like I said, I love the encyclopedia part, right? So just look at these
Love
pictures
that.
and
Oh
tell
my
me.
God. That's
look
Bruce
at Baby
Springsteen.
Bruce.
Top Gun was the biggest in cinematic fare. Yeah, I just love all those things. And then just like I love going through, just look at the hair.
I know.
Right, just
Look at
the-
all of the feathered
It's
bangs.
just so
Mhm.
So much
everything about
feathering.
this are all the pictures of just everybody walking around.
And that picture,
so
that
great.
picture of the hair that you were pointing out, that everybody's putting on their graduation cap. But when you have all of your bangs feathered like that, you
You
have
have to put it
place your
back.
cap.
You will never see anything more 80s and more truly authentic 80s until you look at your yearbook. However, remember
'Cause
when I
that's
said
real? Yeah.
when I was like, I was so happy because I was like, I was in 10 pictures. Like I was in 10 pages in the
wow.
senior
Oh my
yearbook.
God, now I
Yeah,
wanna
don't get
look
so
and see.
excited. A lot of them are clubs, but look at the types of pictures
that's why
I'm
you
in. I
joined
just want to
some of the
show you
clubs.
two. Oh yeah, I was in a ton of clubs. I just want to show you two of my pictures. I remember when the yearbook came out and I saw all the numbers next to my name. I was so excited until I started going looking through them. And I knew someone on the yearbook staff and I was not happy. So this is me. And the caption says, Senior Michelle Schmidt enjoys a weekend lunch at McDonald's. First of all, it was not a weekend lunch. We used to go to campus for lunch. I'm just like eating at McDonald's.
Oh,
yeah.
Look how cute you are, though.
No, it's just awful. And then
Yeah.
it is the most stupid picture. And I remember being mortified. And I remember having to tell myself, do not sign over that picture. I probably did. I probably was one of those people that signed over that picture.
I just looked at my index. I only have 2 numbers by my name in my senior year yearbook. Am I a loser?
Oh.
Only 2 numbers. Mhm.
So you didn't join mock trial club just so you could get extra pictures?
No. I was a one activity person. I was on the dance line and that's it. So I'm guessing it's my senior picture and I'm in the dance line and that's it.
I remember joining mock trial, only going to like 2 meetings, but then they would announce, anyone in mock trial, it's picture day, come to the library or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to mock trial pictures. I don't even know what they did. They like had fake trials somewhere and there were contests.
I remember that. And I think my teacher asked me to join mock trial and I was like, are you high? I did not have time for that. And what is it? And why?
Oh my God.
The only reason I went was because the guy who drove us just home from school, like he was a year ahead of us, he went to it. So it's like I had to kind of go to get to drive home in his Trans Am.
And
I was like,
ride home.
yeah, that's right. So
How am I going to get home if I don't join mock trial?
you know, but I get to be in the picture.
This is why we're saying read your yearbooks, because there are revelations to be made. And boob talk aside, this is what I learned from reading my yearbooks in this, like in one sitting in 1 week. Okay, not talking about the boobs, but so many people said so many nice things to me about me that I never took to heart. I never, more than a handful of people thanked me for the help that I gave them in a certain class. I don't remember that. I don't know, but they said, thank you for the help in French. Thank you for the help in history. So many people said I was understanding. That word kept popping up. And I don't think that's a generic thing that you say, that you just throw out there when you're trying to be nice.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, was I? And if so, I'm really proud of teenage Kristen.
Yeah.
Yes.
For you. But this is the big part, and this is the heartbreaking part. There were so many boys who I crushed on, who I had feelings for, who made it clear in their yearbook message to me that they were interested. And I simply didn't believe it. I just didn't. I mean, at the very least, they were interested in hanging out with me. Even if it wasn't romantically, they would say, I would love to get together this summer. And they would leave their phone number. They would give me their phone number. I didn't call a single one.
No, and
because
that's
I didn't think they meant it. And I just couldn't believe that it would be true.
That's so telling
Uh-huh.
about us as we get to be adults, is that people aren't just saying this to be nice, like they mean it. And we didn't have enough trust or self-confidence or faith in ourselves that, no, they don't want to hang out with me.
I know.
They're just
He
saying
gave
it to
me
be
his
nice.
phone number and he invited me over to swim in his pool, but he doesn't want me to come over to swim in his pool.
Right. Oh, I know.
It's heartbreaking. There's
It
one
is.
guy that I crushed on from 7th grade until we graduated. Phone number. Please call me. I would love to see you this summer. Didn't call him.
Yes.
Here's one I crushed on hard for the entirety of my junior year. And I am not picking up these signals. Or I'm just not believing them. They're there. He's giving them to me, and I'm not doing anything with the information. He says, Kristen, I've decided that I'm not going to do the run-of-the-mill yearbook note. I hope you will find this interesting. Thank you for letting me sit by you for a whole year of history and a half a year of English. I only wish I could put how I feel into words, but I know one thing. You made things interesting. Even though I promised this wasn't going to be ordinary, you are a sweetheart. I know a lot of people say let's get together this summer, but I'm serious. Let's get together this summer. That is, if you'll have time for me. Call me sometime, 421-5557, love, and I can't even say his name because I'm so remorseful that I didn't call.
Yeah.
I think I was waiting for the big ask. Needed somebody to be like knock me over the
Right.
head with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you like to go on a date with me?
Right.
Exactly. I would have
and they
never
never
believed
called.
it either. Yeah.
Didn't believe it.
Oh,
And
my
these are
heart
people
is
I had
breaking.
feelings for them. I
Yes.
loved him. It makes
Oh,
me-
that's heartbreaking.
That does break my heart.
But I think from this whole experience, I would say the one thing that I learned is that I was worthy. I was worthy, and I
Yeah.
did not know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which is heartbreaking. Yet I don't think it was super uncommon. I think
don't
a lot of
either.
us looking back are like, huh, just we
Mhm.
doubted that stuff.
Everything. Yes, we
Yes, and
doubted
just didn't
everything.
believe people really would like us, or that we were really
Yes.
that, or they really wanted to hang out with us. And
Mhm.
The insecurity of everybody, and that we learned that everybody was insecure in junior high and high school. Even if other people listening to this knew us in junior high or high school, and maybe I would never believe that someone would think this, but because I was very insecure, but maybe they're now thinking, God, that's bizarre. I never saw Kristen that way. Kristen was
Yes.
always like so secure in
Yep.
herself and or whatever. But we weren't. And I don't think anybody really was. Even the girls who seemed like they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, suffice it to say, everybody, a dramatic reading of your yearbook might be a lot more than you bargained for. And it's so worthy. First of all, it's worthy for the theatrics alone. It's hysterical. We were such unformed human beings, and the things coming out of our mouths are like simultaneously earnest and phony and overly emotional and strangely detached. They're poetic, and they're also a grammatical nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
These messages, as you've heard us say, these messages reveal not just who the signers were, but also who we were, because it shows how other people saw us. And over time, you can see how people's perception of you changes and how you changed. It's fascinating and funny and thoroughly entertaining. So we suggested last week, this is what we said, and I really mean it. Invite some people over for a Gen X yearbook readers theater. Go in a circle and read your favorites aloud, just like we do. Just like we did. Give all the backstories. Did you get a signature from your longtime crush? I think drinking would make this even more fun. And to be clear, this is not literature. These messages are stupid. But that's our life in those pages. And I, for one, am so glad I took the time to go back and revisit it. Thank you for listening today, and we'll see you next time.
I'd also like to give a special shout out to thank these patrons. These are our supporters over on Patreon, and we couldn't do any of this without them. So today we're saying thank you to Karen, Jennifer, Stephanie, Liz, Greta, Melanie, Kim, Tony, Jennifer, Leanne, and Karen. Thank you.
Thank
So
you,
much.
everybody.
thank you so much.
And in the meantime, let's raise our glasses for a toast, courtesy of the Cast of Three's company. To good times.
2 happy days.
To Little House on the Prairie. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Go Tornadoes. Fight, fight, I know, fight. Go.